Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and I've got filmmaker Gregory Kasunich with me. Hey, Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going great. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This podcast episode is going to be Greg answering the Discover Indie Film 4 questions. I'm going to jump right in and say that they are 3 favorite films, an underrated film, an overrated film, and a lesser-known film for people to seek out. Now, before Greg gets to answer, I'm going to mention that his film, How to End a Conversation, that's why he's on this podcast. That film is in the Discover Indie Film TV series. It is an excellent film at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2021. It took home the Filmmakers Award for Outstanding Short Film, Arthouse Experimental. And I will add the caveat that the Filmmakers Award is given by a jury of filmmakers who have had work at the festival in previous years. So that is an award from one's peers, which I think is rad. So golf clap, bravo for Greg, How to End a Conversation. It's a great film that you can watch starting January 15th, 2023 on Amazon Prime Video. Just go to Prime Video. I didn't say this in the interview podcast, it's the podcast before this one, if you want to hear all about Greg's career and life and his work. But watch it on a big TV. Don't watch movies on your phone if you can help it. If you got the Prime Video app on your phone, I don't hate you, but who doesn't have a big smart TV with the Prime or Roku, this, that, the other with Amazon Prime Video on it? So go to Prime Video, type in Discover Indie Film. It'll auto-complete at some point. Go to Season 7, find the episode with How to End a Conversation in it. Watch it, enjoy it, like, subscribe, review, be a wonderful person. Enjoy that film. Okay, so now to convince you that you should watch Greg's film, he is going to tell you the answers to those 4 questions, and I'm sure you'll say, wow, he has such great taste. I definitely want to see the work that this young person has made. So, you want to go 3 favorites?
Let's do it. I may make some enemies here, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to pick films that have that thing where you see one frame of it or one scene of it on a TV in a Best Buy, and you end up standing there watching it till the end because you just can't stop. So, there are tons of films that I love, maybe more than these, but these are the ones that if they're on, I'm going to watch them all the way through. The first one is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Masterpiece.
Mentioned this in the episode briefly, but it's just one of those films where it brought everything together. It's sad, it's funny, it's got like a science fiction element to it, and it was like one of those films where when I saw it, I went, "You can do that," and all the practical effects, and yeah, it's fantastic.
And one of the most wonderful love stories in the history of cinema, I would say.
Yeah, and you've got Jim Carrey playing against type,
type, and Kate Winslet playing like a crazy hipster who changes her hair. Like, she's a mom.
Yeah.
And then she's rad. She's so amazing in that film.
Yeah, that's and Charlie Kaufman, he's a pretty sad guy. His films tend to be kind of melancholy, and there's definitely a thread of that, but I think it's like out of all of his films probably that he's written, like the most sentimental, which I like.
I bet I for sure. Wonderful film.
Yeah. So my second, Singing in the Rain.
I am flabbergasted and shocked and delighted. Oh, it's funny. I'm not sure I can agree with you, but I'm glad you love it. I was forced to watch it in a film studies class in the late 80s. So, but yeah, it's wonderful filmmaking, isn't it?
I love it. I've always had a soft spot for musicals, and this one again did something that I had never seen before at the time that I saw it, which was very young, where it's a meta film. It's a film about making film. And again, I'm like, you can do that? You can tell a story about telling a story in a medium about that medium. And again, love story. It's funny. It's sweet. And the physical stunts and just the production, that old Hollywood production value. I love it. I just love it so much.
And Gene Kelly directed it, yeah?
Did he? Oh my gosh, see, I don't even know that.
I am, okay. Answer your next one and I'll look it up. Okay. He either directed or co-directed.
That one always just makes me happy. And third has to be There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. That's one of the greatest films ever. Greg, we right before we started recording, I threw out that as an example, and Greg said, "Yeah, that's on my list." That film is fucking amazing.
I mean, P.T. Anderson is a masterful storyteller. He's an incredible filmmaker, and I think that this is like the height of his powers. It's his entire career, I think, has led to it, and it's long, right? It's slow at times. There's extended periods with no dialogue, but it is mesmerizing.
You can't take your eyes off of it. You can't take your eyes off of him.
No, the performance, the score by Johnny Greenwood is incredible. Yeah.
And I know it might feel like a stunt or a gag, but the fact that so much story is told in the first 35 minutes without one word of spoken dialogue, so much story is communicated just through picture and sound without words. Remarkable.
Yeah. Always will watch that one.
And before you jump to the next one, yeah, I was right. Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen. I hope that's how you pronounce Stanley Donen. They directed Singing in the Rain together. So Gene Kelly, you might think of him, a lot of people might think of him as just some guy who lived a long time ago who was a really good dancer and a handsome man. He directed one of the greatest films of all time.
That's incredible. Now I hope that comes up in trivia at some point and I can go, yeah, I know that. Underrated.
Underrated is next.
So this is really hard. I think there's tons of films out there. But I'm going to go with filmmakers that I think a lot of people know. And one of their films that I think ever really got the praise it deserved. It's The Hudsucker Proxy by the Coen brothers.
No, I'm laughing and I made a face for Greg because mine is Miller's Crossing.
No way.
Because, yeah, some of those Coen brothers films people didn't lock into enough.
Yeah, like for great reasons, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou popped off. But Hudsucker Proxy didn't. But it has a very similar comic affectation. It's smart. The performances are great. The sets are it's very like a nod to old Hollywood. I think it definitely deserves another look.
For sure. And I've seen interviews with the Coen brothers where delightfully they describe themselves as comedy writers. A lot of people see them as so serious. The majority of their work is funny. Even their serious shit has funny parts in it.
Oh, yeah. Barton Fink is so dark and hilarious. I love that movie.
It is. So yeah, Hudsucker, nice choice.
Thank you.
Anna Nicole Smith's in there. What can I say? I can't believe I remember that.
Wow, yeah. No, I love it. And they even sort of affect the old timey, like fast talking, style of old films. It's really fun.
Excellent. Okay. Well, question number 3 is overrated.
So I think this is really hard because, yes, if you love a film, good for you, go for it. There's one that always stuck in my craw a little bit, and that is, I really think Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is overrated.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
As a film.
Yeah, as a film.
Did you see it as a kid?
I did. Yeah. I think I saw it like every year. It was always on, TBS or something. And I'm like, I get why people like it, the fanciful nature of it, but there's something about it. I don't really find the songs that compelling. I don't find the story that interesting. Gene Wilder is great, but he's an unhinged maniac murdering children. It's just...
Well, that's the good part. But...
Yeah, exactly.
What's funny is... Through my ex-wife, I knew one of Roald Dahl's daughters, and the family despises that version, and that's why they helped produce the Tim Burton version.
Oh, interesting.
Which is faithful to the book.
Yeah,
and I do think that one's a bit underrated because everyone loves that original so much they really didn't treat, I think, the Tim Burton version like it deserved, but. Yeah. But I get where you're going.
And look, I don't hate it, right? I just think it's over. I think the love for it, I don't understand the passion.
On about it, yeah, for sure. Because they just remember the fanciful parts.
Yeah, yeah. But I do love the one scene where Gene Wilder is on the boat and giving his speech, and he's absolutely out of his mind. That's really fun.
And I do love the moderate amount, the blasé reaction towards children in peril.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a nice. You can do it now.
Yeah. No, his performance is great, but I think, overall, overrated.
Yeah. Fair enough. Last one is a lesser-known film that people should seek out.
I think this is a film that a lot of filmmakers know, especially filmmakers my age who kind of grew up with that indie scene. But a lot of people still don't know about this film. I think it's one of the best time travel films ever made. It's called Primer.
Primer is fucking great.
Yeah.
Shane Carruth?
Shane Carruth. Yeah. One of 2 films he's ever made. And, I remember even when Rian Johnson was making Looper, Shane Carruth was like talking with him about it because of just how smart Primer is. Very twisty, very fun, and just like complete independent spirit. That guy wrote it, acts in it, directed it, everything, cut it.
Everything. And did it all in Austin, right? He was in Texas.
Yeah.
No connection. And he's not the type who moved to LA to make films. He stayed there.
Yeah. And it's, if you like, and what's great about it is it's not all about the puzzle, right? The journey of his discovery. And it's more of a story of invention and friendship.
And it's a thriller.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a perfect fucking film. I love that film. I actually got to see it, a screening of it at Film Independent.
Yeah, of course.
It used to be IFP before that, Independent Feature Project. So that's actually how I saw the screening of Pi, and I saw Primer before, and as a screener there with a Q&A with him afterwards. I'm like, that was such an amazing film.
Yeah,
so excellent choice. And yeah, I'm sure only film nerds know it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty well known in the film nerd community, but for somebody who might be hesitant to pick it off the shelf or click on it,
but for every person who's seen Primer, there's 100 who've seen Pi.
Yeah, exactly, and still, I don't think that one's as big as it could be. So
yeah.
All
right, now I feel like shit because I love that film so much. And what was his follow-up? Something Color?
Upstream Color. Yeah.
I haven't watched.
Very different. Check it out. I saw it, and he was there doing a Q&A at the film school where they did the podcast with Jeff Goldstein. And I thought it was a short film because I had heard nothing about it. And so I was like, oh, must be like and I'm sitting there 2 hours later. It's fantastic. It's bizarre. It's heady. I think Primer is more fun, but definitely worth a look.
There's been not many time travel films that work.
It's tough. Yeah.
And that might be one of the 2. I mean, truth is, Back to the Future and Terminator don't work. Like if you go into a philosophy class in a university and sit down with a professor and talk about the logistics of time travel, they all say that can't work. That's not how time travel could possibly work.
Yeah, and I could be totally wrong by saying this, so don't quote me on it, but I feel like Shane, before being a filmmaker, was doing something in science.
An engineer.
Yeah.
He was an engineer, yeah.
So I think he took an engineer's mind and said, what can I, how do I tell a story? And you're right. For people who haven't seen it, it's like, what if time travel actually was invented? How would it work? What are the physics of it?
Yeah. And what would people do with it?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if 2 people had access to a time machine and then had a conflict, what would happen? It's really the best idea. I am going to waste one more minute of this podcast and say, I can't believe there wasn't like an expensive remake of that film. You know what I mean? Like of all the shitty time travel things that have come out, that film, why didn't some Hollywood studio, why didn't Netflix, somebody say, you know what, if we gave Shane $5 million to do just remake Primer in a way that other people can, people who can't handle a low budget black and white vibe, that movie should exist.
I guarantee the answer is because Shane won't do it.
That's the best answer.
He's on to other things. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, hey, that was short and sweet. Very good. Excellent taste. Excellent films named. How great are the Coen brothers?
Yeah, incredible. Don't.
Is Hudsucker your number one Coen, or it's just the Coen brothers film you feel doesn't get the love it deserves?
I think it doesn't get the love it deserves. I think people thought like, oh, that wasn't very good. And I think if they went back and watched it again, like Miller's Crossing. I think people who see it go, that's good.
I just don't think enough people have seen it.
But not enough people have seen it.
You know, like a lot of people, and it doesn't have like, the lead actor is not one of the regular players.
Yeah. I think my favorite, gosh, it's so hard to say. Oh Brother is really high up there for me. I do like No Country, but the one that weirdly I keep coming back to, it just brings me so much joy, is Barton Fink. I love John.
The film about a writer.
The film about, and just how satirical and those over the top performances. And it takes place in this like, golden age of film. And I love it so much.
Yeah. You probably like Hail Caesar, right?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
no.
I did. Really? Interesting.
I thought that was a swing and a miss for me.
Fascinating. Yeah. Cause I mean, you are making me aware of just how often they do a love letter to old Hollywood.
Yeah. And each time it's different, right? With Barton Fink, I like the surreal nature of, who is Charlie, the John Goodman character, and the life of the mind, as he always says.
I'll show you the life of the mind. I sometimes see it as their finger giving, like they had 2 hits. The first, they were 2 for 2. And then they were like, let's get self-indulgent. They're giving us more money.
Well, the story I heard, and again, could be wrong, is that they had written some other stuff that they were trying to get made. And like in between it, they were like, we have this Barton Fink thing. Like, let's just go shoot that. I think that was the first time they worked with Deakins. Could be wrong, but like, what a great partnership. The Deakins Coen brother partnership.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Before that, it was Sonnenberg. Not Sonnenberg. I'm saying his name wrong. Jesus Christ. I'll shut up. I'll shut up. I don't want to make myself sound ignorant. I don't edit these, so now I can't remove my mistake. Why can I not name their... Anyway.
I could be wrong. Deakins could have shot some of their earlier films too, but...
It was Barry Sonnenfeld did the first couple, right?
I think he was a DP, right?
Yeah. I know he did Miller's and a couple others. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right when I said Sonnenfeld.
Yeah, there you go.
It made me think of the composer. But anyway, I'll shut up.
Sondheim.
Sondheim, thank you. Oh my God. This is what happens. Get everything you need to get done before you turn 50. That's all I got to say. Because look at Scorsese. After 50, you're done. No, a ton of people just decided they hate me. Okay, so Gregory Kasunich, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I will wrap us up. Oh, you want to tell your website and social media?
Yeah, website is my first and last name, GregoryKasunich.com, GregoryKasunich.com, and my Instagram handle, where I post a lot of updates about films and film festivals and photography, is at Gregory JM Kasunich.
Excellent. All right, I am going to go on, and those will be in the show notes. I promise they'll be linkable. So I'm going to go on my closing spiel, which is, again, Greg's film, How to End a Conversation, is in the Discover Indie Film TV series. TV series that was naturally born out of this podcast. I was bringing, the Q&As at Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion LA are actually long for a festival. We tend to do 15-minute with the audience. But I was sitting there going, man, people have so much more to say. There's so much more to talk about with these films and these filmmakers. So I had this particular microphone at home, and so I started inviting people over to start this podcast. And everyone who made a feature was telling me, yeah, I'm on this streaming service, I'm on that streaming service. And everyone who made a short was telling me, well, it's on my website. It's embedded from YouTube. I just YouTube and Vimeo. And it's like, so it's lost in a sea of a billion films. So I said to like 20 people, you want to put all the films together and make a TV series? And like I was 20 for 20. Everyone said yes. So Discover Indie Film, the TV series was born. It's on Amazon Prime Video. If you go to Prime Video on a nice big-ass TV, go to your Prime Video app, type in Discover Indie Film. Somewhere along the way, it'll autocomplete. And if you want to watch Greg's film, How to End a Conversation, just go to Season 7 and find it. Probably not going to be in the first episode because I always start with comedy. Got to grab people with the laughs. But it'll probably be like 2, 3, 4, somewhere around there because it's a nice balance. So anyway, enjoy Season 7 of that show. Give it 5 stars, write a nice review, be kind, be nice about this podcast, like, subscribe, review, blah, blah, blah. Be a good person, if you enjoy something. We all tend to complain when we don't like something, and we're quiet when we do. So I'm just urging, and I'm trying to practice what I preach. I'm reviewing everyone's films now. We're coming here. I bothered to go on IMDb and write it. So anyway, I've discussed Discover Indie Film. Go to discoverindiefilm.com for more info, and on social media, it's at DIFWins. And I mentioned those 2 film festivals. Greg's film, How to End a Conversation, won Outstanding Short Film Arthouse Experimental at Sherman Oaks Film Festival. We hold that sucker every November. You can learn more at shermanoaksff.com, and it's at shermanoaksff on social media. And finally, its sister festival we hold every June is Film Invasion Los Angeles, and you can learn more about that if you go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at filminvasionla on social media. And I think we're good. Greg, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for coming in person. And, Zoom is so much easier for us, but in person, I'm sure everyone can agree this sounded better. All right. Thank you, Greg. And thank you, everyone, for listening.